Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode, we're talking about the Atlanta Falcons 2019 NFL Draft Class based on analytics. And if you're new to the channel and new to the work that I do, all terms and definitions will be in the description. Of all the stuff out of the way, let's get to the first pick of the draft, which of course is Chris Lindstrom, offensive guard out of Boston College. When you look at his athleticism traits, very good. 93.92 in terms of explosiveness, 98.25 in terms of speed, and 95.14 in terms of flexibility for his size. When you look at the sort of thresholds at the position, pretty much hits above all those thresholds. When you look at the Pro Bowl thresholds, hits above those as well. And of course, when you look at the averages at the position, well above all those averages in terms of center potential. I know he's definitely viewed as a guard at the position, but even the guard data has the same sort of thresholds and majority potential areas. So Chris Lindstrom is just incredibly athletic, if not the most athletic interior offensive lineman in this draft class, and that is why the Falcons took him as high as they did. There definitely were some Garrett Bradbury people out there, and don't get me wrong, Garrett Bradbury has better flexibility testing or balance testing, but Lindstrom just hits everything out of the park in terms of just overall athleticism data, which is why they took him as high as they did. And he has a very good shot to become a very, very, very good offensive lineman at the next level. And then, of course, we get to Caleb McGarry, offensive tackle out of Washington. When you look at his data, he had a 94.93 explosive lower body strength score, 88.55 speed score, and 86.43 flexibility score. Looking at the overall data of the thresholds, he pretty much hits every area you're looking for in terms of All-Pro, Pro Bowl, and starter potential. And when you look at the averages at the position, he syncs up more with the average for a Pro Bowler and a starter than an All-Pro player, but definitely good all-around athleticism traits. And I think, again, another guy that has a very good shot to become a starter. I think these two picks are like knocking him out of the park. The only sort of question marks with Caleb McGarry is that he's just a little bit older at the position. But both these players, great athleticism traits, and I think there's a very good shot that at least one of them will become a long-term starter, if not better, for the Atlanta Falcons. Then, of course, we get to the next pick of the draft, which, of course, is Kendall Sheffield, cornerback out of Ohio State. When you look at his market share data, he had a 19.70 solo tackle score and a 19.35 pass deflection score. Based on my data since 1989, he doesn't hit all the areas he needs to hit in terms of all-pro thresholds at either the solo tackle data or pass deflection data, and when you look at the averages, well below what the averages should be in terms of those two areas. He does have good athleticism traits, high 89 percentile in terms of his explosiveness, 86 percentile in terms of his speed, and high 80 percentile in terms of flexibility for his size. So he does have very good athleticism traits, Pro Bowl level athleticism traits, but he just doesn't have the production to match those athleticism traits. And I do think he's probably one of the reaches they did, because this is someone who just has a profile of like a day 3 bet on athleticism type versus someone that you would take in day 2, because his production just doesn't match his overall profile. And of course, we get to John Kaminsky. When you look at his production data, 97.30 in terms of solo tackle data, 15.26 in terms of sack data, and 68.74 in terms of tackle for loss data. Doesn't hit the All-Pro threshold, Pro Bowl threshold at the position. And when you look at the averages, doesn't really hit near the averages due to sack data. But he does have very good athleticism traits. 89.15 in terms of explosiveness, 96.78 in terms of speed, and 98.12 in terms of flexibility for his size. So they seem to be betting on his athleticism traits, really, really athletic edge rusher type. Didn't have very good sack data, but did have very good solo tackle data, and he is at a lower level competition. So I'd say at the very least, John Kaminsky can become a long-term starting edge for them. Then, of course, we get to Quadre Olison, running back out of Pittsburgh. When you look at his market share data, 58.08 in terms of his production. Didn't hit the All-Pro threshold, 5-time Pro Bowl threshold, but did hit the 3-time Pro Bowl threshold. When you look at the averages, nowhere near the All-Pro average, Pro Bowl average, or starter average. But when you look at athleticism traits, he does have a couple things here and there that are decent. 29.12 in terms of explosiveness, 64.48 in terms of speed, and 26.73 in terms of flexibility for his size. Doesn't look like an All-Pro, Pro Bowl running back based on his athleticism and production traits, but definitely could become a backup/rotational type based on his overall data. And then, of course, we get to Jordan Miller, cornerback out of Washington. When you look at his production data, 8.85 in terms of solo tackle data, 19.94 in terms of pass deflection data. He doesn't hit the All-Pro threshold or Pro Bowl threshold when it comes to his overall production data. And, of course, when you look at the averages, nowhere near where he needs to be in terms of the averages at the position. So this is definitely one of those kind of misstep picks. I think when it comes to cornerbacks, they're not looking at production. They're just looking at athleticism traits. And in Jordan Miller's case, there isn't a lot to say about his athleticism. He definitely had above average marks in certain things, but I didn't get a complete athletic profile on him yet. But he definitely is someone that I think, could become a backup, sort of camp guy, but not someone I think can become a long-term starter in the future. And then the last pick of the draft is Marcus Green, wide receiver out of Louisiana. Actually, not Louisiana. But basically, wide receiver at a lower level competition. When you look at his production day, 58.23, didn't hit the All-Pro area, Pro Bowl area, or starter area in terms of the averages at the position. When you look at the regular data, he does hit at least the long-term starter area, and athleticism is definitely a little bit suspect. But yeah, University of Louisiana Monroe is basically where he's from. So I'm really not going to say much about him. He's sort of like a late pick. So more likely going to be a special teamer type guy. So I'm really not going to be too harsh on that. But overall, how do I feel about the Falcons draft class? I think it's a pretty good draft class, mainly because of the two picks they took at the very beginning. I think the two offensive linemen are great athleticism traits, great ability to become very, very good contributors for them. I think everything after that was kind of a mixed bag. The cornerbacks they took was a mixed bag. John Kaminsky is great athleticism traits, but definitely doesn't really have the production in terms of sack production to really make you feel good about that pick. And then, of course, Quadre Olson is more like a backup rotational type. So, the Falcons draft class will really hinge on those two picks, on those guard picks, and those the tackle and guard picks. Caleb McGarry and Chris Lindstrom. But if they do hit, I think this has a chance to be a very, very good draft class, because all you need is one or two guys to really hit to make a great draft class. And I think in this case, those guys could be that for the Falcons. And, of course, my name is James Coburn. You can find my other work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know. Hit that notification bell in case you want to be reminded when another video of mine drops. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.